What's going on, everybody? Today we're rebuilding the front brake caliper on my S15. This is also known as the Z32 caliper. A dead giveaway that your pistons are stuck in the caliper is heat. Go and touch your fingers against the rotor after driving the car for a little while and compare the heat across the two front rotors. If one rotor's hotter than the other, one's putting in more work, likely because it's stuck pushed out and isn't retracting like it should. The only other way to check would be take your pads out and take something to put pressure on the pistons and see if they retract evenly. They should all move smoothly in and out of the bores, but when they get old and crusty like this one, they get stuck. So today, we're gonna do the front left. Hopefully that fixes things and we can drive smoothly without producing too much excess heat or slowing us down. Before we get into it, please smash the like and subscribe button down below. First step, jack up your car. With the wheel off the car, we can now access the brakes. It's a 19 here off the back to take the caliper off the knuckle. Then we have to decide what our plan of attack is for getting these pistons out. Now, many people recommend taking the caliper off the car using compressed air to push the pistons out, but I don't have compressed air, so my plan is to get the rotor out of the way, get the pads out of the way, and then apply the brakes just lightly and have the caliper brake fluid push the pistons out themselves. I may have to shim one set of pistons so that they don't push out before the arrest because the force will be unequally distributed because of the congested pistons. I know this is going to put more fluid in the caliper and make more of a mess, but this is the only option I have. Just after a couple pumps on the brakes, you can see this one's moved out the most, and this one's moved out a little. Gonna have to get a piece of wood in here to stop these two from pushing out, and so I can allow these two to push out. So after giving the brake pedal a couple more pumps, the pistons were definitely coming out unevenly. I had to pop one back in, just got out of its hole. So I pushed it back in. Now I got a C-clamp holding this one from pushing out, got a C-clamp from holding this one from pushing out, and just a piece of wood to make sure that one doesn't come out, because we're targeting this one. This one was the most stuck, so now that we've got everything else held in place, we can push this one out a pump or two at a time. It doesn't take much pedal action to get the pistons moving. While you're doing this, you're pushing fluid out of your master cylinder reservoir, so make sure you have enough you don't push air into the system. I should probably top this up soon. When you get to the end, you've got all the pistons extended. You can use a set of channel locks and grip the very edge of the piston here. You do not want to grab here with the boot because you'll hurt the boot, but we're replacing that. But also, you don't want to mar the surface of the piston that goes in and out of the caliper. If you mar the surface in using pliers on it, you're going to have a long-term leak or you'll have a problematic brake that'll be seized. So do not do that. Be very careful with your pliers on the tippy tip here. Update time. I cannot get this brake fitting hardline out of the caliper. It is super seized and I don't have any gas to heat it up. So I tried this one where it connects to the soft line. Also super seized, not coming out. Looks like we're doing this rebuild job on the vehicle. This is what a brake rebuild kit looks like. These are your brake fluid sealing rings. These do the actual sealing around the piston. These are your dust boots, and these here are your snap rings that go around the dust boots. You can see right where my pick tool is. We got the little wire that goes around the dust boot here and holds everything in. I'm gonna pick that off and then work on this troublesome boot here. With the piston out, you can see all the corrosion that was holding up the cylinder here. I'm gonna clean this up as well as get that oil seal out of the bore there with another pick tool, and then start reinstalling this piston. It should slide in smoothly with a nice straight alignment. With the piston out, I've been busting knuckles trying to clean up this inner surface here. It really only was the outer lip past the oil seal or the brake fluid seal back in there that was rusty. It's just this outer edge here. I've got it cleaned up now and the piston slides in and out smoothly. I got the piston here all cleaned up. It just had a bit of rust where the dust boot meets the groove here. So I just tried to clean that up as best I could. The machining marks on the outside of the piston seem fine, like there's no big scratches in or anything, so I think we're good to reuse this. So we got the piston bore all cleaned up. I've got that main sealing O-ring installed in the groove. I spent a long time cleaning rust out of the groove. Now I'm gonna put the piston in and then install the dust boot on top. Don't forget about the clip that anchors around this perimeter here to hold the dust boot secure. Got the piston in, you gotta make sure it goes in nice and straight or else that O-ring that seals the piston can get crooked when you put it in, and that's no good. Then it doesn't seal and the piston doesn't slide well. We got it in, now to slip on the dust boot and the clip. All right, well, we got these two pistons in there with new seals and new dust boots, and they look fresh, they move smoothly, you can push them by hand, what a wonder. Now, put the rotor back in, pads just like we took them out, bleed the system, and hope it doesn't fail on you when you drive away.